This is everything we know about Galarian Slowbro to help you get ready for the Isle of Armor in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now this video isn't only going to talk about the new stuff like the typing, ability, and signature move, we're also going to take a look at what we already know. Moveset ideas because of Galarian Slowpoke, but also potential stat distribution because of Slowbro and its comparison to other regional variant Pokemon. There actually might be more value into looking at things like this than actually all the new stuff, which we have a little bit of vague information about, and then we have some other fancy new developments. So if you end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and comment down below. How do you feel about Galarian Slowbro? Are you already convinced? Do you already know that you're using this Pokemon in the game? We're going to wait and see what else happens with the Isle of Armor, but let's get into the first thing I want to talk about, and that's the typing Poison Psychic. So Poison Psychic has not existed in Pokemon before. This is a brand new typing. I think it's really cool when Game Freak is like, hey, let's make a new dual typing, but it makes sense. Like, this feels very natural. It gives us all kinds of extra benefits, because like, oh, really cool, we have a new typing, but also really cool because we're getting a sensible new regional form, so I think it works out like that. And the funniest thing about Poison Psychic is if you have a decent amount of experience in Pokemon, you think about it for a half second without knowing it, and it sounds good. So like your gut feeling tells you that it's good, and it's actually a really good typing. So here we can compare it to the Water Psychic of Slowbro, but man, we only have 3 weaknesses compared to 5. We don't have as many resistances, but I mean, 4 resistances, and these are good resistances to have. Poison, that's getting a lot of usage. Grass, it's just nice to be able to respond to that. And then a Fairy resistance, oh yeah, Fairy, pretty common. And then for weaknesses, we have Ground, Ghost, and Dark. These weaknesses are pretty common because we have Pokemon like Dragapult that a lot of people use. We have Tyranitar for the Dark. We also just see some like other usage in tech where these moves will just kind of appear. And Ground is always super common because Earthquake is always super good. Even Pokemon that are running high horsepower still going to do a lot of damage to you. So the weaknesses are kind of weird. Like, it almost feels like you have 4 or 5 weaknesses in comparison to the regular Slowbro. Like, you don't really feel bugged too often, but Rotom with the Electric, Grass, I feel like with Grassy Glide, it's also just going to find a lot more usage. So we have to think about what else might happen in the Isle of Armor that's going to make Slowbro more or less usable. But it is really interesting to, like, consider when we have the Psychic typing. Normally Poison is weak to Psychic, but then that just kind of offsets and cancels it out. So the canceling out of the weaknesses with like Bug and Psychic is kind of cool on this typing. And overall, you can still play around it. Normal type Pokemon, well, you can just get a free switch right there. Ground type Pokemon, well, if you have a flying one, you can get a switch right there. So it seems pretty easy to keep Slowbro safe. And even when you look at the Dark typing, some of those Pokemon want to use choice items like the Hydreigon. So yeah, you can just kind of find ways to make sure Slowbro doesn't get hurt too hard. Then you come in really strong against Fighting, Poison, Grass, and Fairy type Pokemon, so Slowbro is going to do pretty well. However, I feel like one of the most important things is going to be the Quick Draw ability, and we don't know exactly what it does, but we do have a blurb that can give us some information about it. However, everything else is looking really good for Slowbro so far, so if the Quick Draw ability is really good, this Pokemon's busted. If it's underwhelming, there's still going to be some options, and we're going to go and talk about those in just a bit for this video. So, though this Pokemon is normally zoned out, facing off against strong opponents activates the stimulants in its body, sending them cursing through its nervous system and delivering a jolt. When this happens, Slowbro expression sharpens. With a speed that puts even the quickest reflexes to shame, Slowbro readies its Shelter and makes poisonous liquid shoot from Shelter's tip. It just sounds like if you think of the idea of Quick Draw, and when you're talking about beating opponents to the draw, it sounds like that first move, that first action is going to give you a speed advantage over your opponents. So I think the main question is, how many times do you get to use it? Is it going to be like Mimikyu to where Disguise only activates 1 time per battle? Does Quick Draw only activate the first time this Pokemon hits the field ever? Or is it going to be something where anytime Slowbro comes in, its first action is going to have priority? Is it also going to be limited? Is it only going to be attacks? Like, can you only have offensive priority on the first thing that you use? It doesn't really sound like a Quick Draw if you're going to use Calm Mind or Amnesia, but if you're pulling out your Shell Sidearm and you're going bang, that's going to be a fast reflex for some quick damage. So is this Pokemon just going to be something that you bring in opportunistically on a good switch, and then you just back it up with crazy damage, and then it just plays like a Slowbro without its ability for a little bit? or there are going to be other things setting up this Pokemon. So we have an interesting breakdown of what wants to happen right here. And I mean, if Gale Wings can exist to give instant priority, I think we can see that happen again, because it is a really compelling ability to be able to do something like that, even in Generation 6, when it was permanent priority on flying type moves. Also, when you're considering a flying type priority at full health, you can get multiple instances of that. So, yeah, if Game Freak makes something that stupid, then that's definitely possible on Slowbro. Let's see what we have for the new information coming from the V starter decks with Dark-type Galarian Slowbro. So, here's the card. We get to see the ability. The ability is called Quick Draw Poison. Sounds similar. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon poison. Now, I don't think Quick Draw is going to be like you hit the field or you get like a poison stacked on with one of your offensive moves. So it just kind of shows like this is action that's taking place before the battle in some kind of way, and they're trying to synergize it back into the main Galarian Slowbro, and they're okay with giving us this information early before the Isle of Armor comes out. Now, I don't think it really means too much, because there's a lot of weird interactions that we see in the TCG. Anyone that follows TCG sees similar moves, similar abilities. They have much different effects inside the game. So, I don't know. We also have Stranding Shot. During your opponent's next turn, the opponent's active Pokemon, blank, blank, blank. Sounds like the opponent's active Pokemon can't switch, which really doesn't have anything to do with Shell Sidearm. But Shell Sidearm, man, this is a crazy sounding move. Also, I'm wondering if Slowbro's expression changes depending on if the ability is active or not. So you got Dopey Slowbro, but then boom, Quick Draw activates, and then it has this animation to where it looks super confident, it looks super ready to battle, and then after it uses the move, it goes back to being Dopey. So I think that could just support like some kind of priority or some kind of extra action that's happening with Quick Draw. So Shell Sidearm is a poison type special move in which this Pokemon fires poisonous liquid from the tip of the shoulder attached to its arm. This move may poison the target, so it kind of be weird if Shell Sidearm stacked poison like that, or not Shell Sidearm, Quick Draw. Moreover, it inflicts either physical or special damage depending on which will damage the target more. So when I talked about this, I was like, yo, this is like a really cool, new, unique thing that I love seeing in Pokemon, especially being added in with the DLC and kind of expanding on competitive viability and stuff. And I saw some people in the comment section saying, no, that just sounds like Photon Geyser from Necrozma. However, Necrozma's is different. Even the tooltip for it is different. So Photon Geyser, physical if the user's attack is higher than the special attack. So what it really means is you have like a 100 base power signature move if you want to run the physical Necrozma for some kind of reason. It's not working on the damage calculation. This is more going to be like a Psyshock and a Psychic at the same time. Now if the opponent has less defense, you're doing more damage physically. If the opponent has less special defense, you're doing more damage with special attack, even though it's only going to calculate from the special attack. Something interesting like that. We can also take a look at the tooltip in the game. So the user attacks Pillar of Light, inflicts attack or special attack damage, whichever stat is higher for the user. So this one specifically says user, and this one says target. So I think that means that we're going to be looking at something that's different than Photon Geyser, and actually stronger than a legendary move, which is pretty interesting. So that's all the new stuff out of the way. So far, it's looking really good, but I do want to get into those stats. And here's where the things kind of get wild, because I was thinking, well, what happens if we have a Galarian Pokemon? How many of the Galarian Pokemon have the same... Actually, no, we can't look at... We have to look at the individual Pokemon. So, looking at some of the regional variant Pokemon, we can see that their stats are the exact same. Weezing, Galarian Weezing, that's going to be the same. Alolan Muck, regular Muck, that's going to be the same. I was actually surprised because I really never looked into the Alolan Marowak, but Marowak is going to be the same. Now, some Pokemon did receive better stats or better stat distributions, like Ninetales. Ninetales just got straight buffed, and like significantly buffed, putting it at a 109 speed tier. Like 110, 111, little too strong, 109, much better than 100, and all it lost was attack. a stat it never uses. And then like the changes to the moveset and typing, and then getting like Aurora Veil synergy on the Snow Cloak. There was like a lot of really good stuff. Also, Ice Fairy is like super strong offensively. We can take a look at Sand Slash. Sand Slash got one of those minor buffs. It loses special attack that never uses to get slightly tankier than the regular Sand Slash. But as we can see, there's not really too many significant changes that affect a Pokemon. Corsola, it's just going to be, you know, losing 5 hit points, losing 5 speed, gaining 5 defense, 5 special defense, kind of rounding out the Pokemon. That's kind of a whatever. What does Raticate have? Now, I haven't really, again, like, studied this too much, but I mean, Raticate getting a lot of changes. However, like, Slowbro is already a really viable Pokemon, so I don't really see, you know, too many changes like this. Like, we lose 20 defense to gain 10 special defense, to lose 20 special attack, to gain 20 hit points, and then 10 defense, and then lose 10 attack. So it just got a lot tankier to maybe survive a hit and then do something as like an anti-tank Pokemon. And then you look at Darmanitan. Darmanitan's the same. I'm not going to go through every regional variant, talk about how much they are the same or how much different they are, but we can already tell that from Galarian Slowpoke, if we just compare Galarian Slowpoke to regular Slowpoke, it's the exact same stats. So it kind of suggests that Slowbro might have the exact same stats. And we can also look at the hidden ability, because the hidden ability is really interesting on the Galarian Slowpoke. It's not available yet because you don't have any way of getting hidden ability if the Pokemon can't be like obtained through a raid battle or some kind of like other means of getting a hidden ability, because that's going to happen when we go to the Isle of Armor. So this will be available at some point, just not now. However, on the website, just Gluttony on Tempo, which is why it's really interesting that only Quick Draw is the ability for Galarian Slowbro. Now, is this going to be like some kind of bamboozle that because of the nature of the poison and how strong the lore is, like, can Slowbro in Galar only exist with the Quick Draw ability, especially if it might have like an exclusive animation or some kind of like extra synergy inside of that, because there are some Pokemon that only have an ability, and you can't do anything about that. Such as Silvally with the Arceus system, and you also have Mimikyu with Disguise, Aegislash, Stance Change, and some of those abilities can't even be, like, taken away from the Pokemon. So I think Quick Draw probably could be taken away from it, but it's kind of weird that it only lists Quick Draw, despite us already knowing, like, alright, we have Gluttony on Tempo, so is it going to keep one of these abilities? Why does Galarian Slowpoke have Regenerator at all, and then why is it super similar to the Slowbro? So is it still going to have Regenerator as hidden ability? And that's what I'm talking about. Even if Quick Draw isn't like the most insanely usable thing ever, Regenerator on this typing is going to be super nice. Like I said, you can take a hit, you can do a trade with an opponent, and then if you feel that super effective ground type move coming, you go into your flying Pokemon, so you're negating any of the damage that they've done while it sticks on them. Same thing with the ghost typing, and I think dark is just something you have to eat. You know, it is kind of hard to just hard wall out dark typing, but still, it gives Slowbro a lot of opportunities, even if you consider running the Regenerator. Like I said, if you want to do a different strategy, if it does get access to that ability, or for some reason, you know, Quick Draw isn't really that great. Like, it's kind of insane how many uniques are on this Pokemon. Unique typing, unique ability, unique signature move. Are they all going to be really good? Because it sounds like they're all going to be really good. So that's something to keep an eye on. As for what else it gets, you know, it's just, we got, it's regular Slowpoke, so Slowpoke, Galar. It's Gluttony over Oblivious. I mean, if it's Gluttony, Quick Draw, Regenerator, Gluttony is still very usable on Slowbro as well, depending on how it wants to play around with it, getting that berry activation sooner. Probably not as good as the Regenerator, but I still think people are going to come up with some kind of shenanigan combo with it that's still going to work out pretty well. And then, since we've also looked at the stats, Slowbro was already usable competitively. Like, it's just one of those interesting things when you see a Pokemon that had competitive viability before it got a regional variant, and then it just has better tools on top of it. Like, we still see Ninetales alongside the Galarian Ninetales. So 95 hit points, solid, 75 attack, doesn't matter. If they strip anything off the attack and put it anywhere else in Galarian Slowbro, except for maybe speed, like maybe because this Pokemon isn't as dopey, it's like, oh, it's a 65 attack, 40 speed, means nothing. But if that goes into defense, or special attack, this Pokemon's going to start ripping people apart. So keep an eye on that, but 95 hit points, 110 defense, that's a tank. 100 special attack, you can either go max hit points, max special attack, and do tons of damage, or you don't even have to invest into it. You use the Calm Mind, and then you're still really good. So I would run Slowbro like I run most of my Slowbro. You do this, you run Defensive Nature, and then you just kind of keep setting up. Also, this brings us to the moveset. That Slowpoke's moveset, pretty much the same as Slowbro's moveset. Or, like, not Slowbro's, but Slowpoke and Galarian Slowpoke, very, very similar. Like, Galarian Slowpoke still keeps a lot of its water in it, and we do see this with other regional variants as well, where it's like, oh, it still has the other tools, they're just not stab, and then it gets all the other new fun stuff on top of that, and then a signature move. So we're going to see how this develops. Now, generally, a pre-evolution Pokemon isn't going to have everything that the full evolution is going to be, so this doesn't tell us every move that Galarian Slowbro is going to get, but I mean, damn, that's a lot of tools right there. Like Ice Beam, it's still nasty, and then it has the signature move that's always going to do the most amount of damage, and then coverage, and then stab poison, and then the other benefits that we see from the psychic poison typing. It just sounds like a better Slowbro, and a better Slowbro is pretty ridiculous. And with Calm Mind already being confirmed on the Galarian Slowpoke, we just have, you know, we have Slowbro. If it gets Iron Defense, like, that's going to be the big thing for, like, those super heavy, stally kind of sets. If it gets Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Slack Off, we got a thick Pokemon. And since it's a poison typing, it can't get Toxic Stalled. So still going to be vulnerable to other statuses and stuff, but generally when I was running, like, Mega Slowbro back in the day, I'd had Rest. Because Rest, even if I have, you know, +2 Iron Defense, +3 Calm Minds, I'm not dying. I'll wake up, I'll get 2 moves, and then I'll rest again, and it just means I'm absolutely not getting Toxic Stalled. With this, you can still run Rest probably because you still have filthy stats, but the Slack Off gives you a lot more instant responses to things, and then you run a coverage move, and it can be a poison coverage move. Except not. Actually, you do have pure immunities. Poison, going to be immune by Steel, Psychic immune by Dark, but if this is just a more successful Slowbro, you can still run those similar kind of ways that we've seen in the past. And overall, it's just going to be really good. Like I said, if you have this quick draw thing, and like, what if you just do that, Modest Nature, Quiet Nature, and Trick Room, or Choice Specs, and then you just play it as like a really heavy hit and run Pokemon. So it comes in, it Choice Specs a 100 special attack, and then probably just dunks on a Chansey because it's going to be doing physical damage. Didn't look at how much it does, but just kind of giving you ideas of like what you do with this Pokemon, and then you're just going to do more damage to the opponent than you take, and you respond to it. Also, I did want to talk about Calm Mind. Like, if you look at a Pokemon like Dragapult, Dragapult has trash offenses. So you have a Calm Mind, they switch in Dragapult, you Calm Mind again, you Slack Off, and now you're neutral against Dragapult, and it can't do anything against you. So an Iron Defense, that cancels out an Earthquake. If it gets access to it, it still should. Just looking at the design, just saying. So, like, you can come into stats, offset the weaknesses a lot harder and more effectively than we get with the regular Slowbro, and the game gets wild. So, I think that's pretty much it. We broke down everything, like I said I was going to do, and it's still a pretty big video. So tell me what you guys think. I don't think I missed anything, but if I did, you can comment that down below. I'm looking at more than just like, oh, the free quick draw prediction on the ability, and then, you know, the more basic breakdowns. We actually got to look harder into the Poison Psychic typing, compare its stats to what's going to be happening with other Galarian Pokemon or Alolan Pokemon, and I think it's just really safe to say that the Pokemon's going to be good because the base is good, and then if Game Freak just does anything else surprising that's actually like a hard buff to this Pokemon, it goes from good to ridiculous. Otherwise, it's playable Slowbro. Depends on the meta. If Water Psychic becomes a better typing just because of what's being used, still going to have access from Pokemon Home to use regular Slowbro, and then you can still get your Regenerator. So Slowbro is going to be good. Galarian Slowbro is going to be good. Isle of Armor's looking good. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.